Hey, Andy from Winning in the Shadows and Wager Talk. Hope everyone's had a good weekend. We're going to talk about some props and some parlays tonight. So let's get right into it. Uh, let's jump to our good friends at props.cash. Hold on one second here. All right. Actually, scratch that. We're gonna go back to we're gonna do the Texans and the Cowboys here. So let's talk about some props here for Monday Night Football. Um, it's a tough game. I think the obvious play is going to be Joe Mixon. I think people are going to be all over Joe Mixon things. Joe Mixon scored a touchdown. Books are ahead of that, minus 195. Um, rushing props, if we're looking at rushing props here, 87 and a half. Ooh, man, that's a big number. Can he get over it? Absolutely. Absolutely, he can get over it. It's going to be a heavy dose of Joe Mixon. This is a bad Houston Texans offensive line. It's been well documented. CJ Stroud's been sacked 12 times in the last week. 12 times in the last 2 weeks. So it would make sense that Joe Mixon would get a lot of work here in this game, especially if they get up if they get up pretty big. So I could see taking the over, but it's just too big of a number for me. So morning Vegas, hope you're doing good. Um yeah, Rico Dowdle, 54 and a half. This has already started to creep down a little bit. It was 55 and a half. Um, I was kind of chuckling with Andrew McGinnis earlier about CD Lamb taking him under half a yard. I know he's been getting a couple rush attempts here or there. Now he's on the injury report with a bad back. I'm not really sure why you would send him flying around the end. Like when your star receiver's got a bad back and your season's almost over. I'm not really sure why that would be in the game plan. Who knows? Maybe it could happen, but I would be pretty surprised. So those are your rushing props. Passing props, I'd like to. This number is so low on Stroud, but again, if you want to alleviate pressure from him, you get Joe Mixon going, and then you got, of course, you've got Nico Collins back, so that should help him. I'm looking more at this under for Cooper Rush. This guy had 44 yards passing last week. Cannot stretch the field. Pretty easy to defend. I don't see how this is going to be a tough game for the Texans to defend Cooper Rush on. So I would look at the under on his interceptions. I kind of like the under on CJ Stroud. He had a couple last week, but that was, I mean, let's face it, that was against a tough Lions defense. And this, he may be throwing a little bit less. As long as he has a little bit of time, I think he's going to find success throwing. The Cowboys are so banged up on defense that it would surprise me if Stroud made a really bad decision that. So I might look at him to not throw an interception. We're going to receiving props. Again, these are really tough because you don't know what you're getting from Dallas, but I would look at CD Lamb under 59 and a half. CD Lamb had 6 catches for 21 yards. Again, back issue. Don't really know why you would put your wide receiver in harm's way like that. So I would look towards those. Other than those, not a whole lot going on here. If you guys watched my preview of this video on the Wages Talk channel, I talked about the Houston Texans over 12 and a half points in the first half. They average over 14 in the first half. They've gone over the last couple weeks. This is a Dallas team that's easily given up over 14 or over 12 and a half in the last couple weeks. Last week they gave up 14 to Philly, and it was very strange. Like Philly could have had over 20 the first half. They had turnovers. I think 2 touchdowns as well within the realm of possibility for this Houston team. So that's how I would look on that one. All right, that's NFL. Let's go to the NBA and let's see what we find here. I would like to start with taking the under on Joel Embiid at 38 and a half on his points, rebounds, and assists. He's questionable. he's still trying to play himself in shape. Um, it doesn't look like Jimmy Butler's going to be there tonight, but still, as a team, they're not great about rebounding, but Joel Embiid is just not rebounding the ball very well. So I would take everything is really, really hard for him to do right now. So I would take the under on Joel Embiid. There was a couple other interesting ones that stood out. I was going to points. Uh, Kevin Love has gone over in 3 out of 4 games. I know you're not too excited for Kevin Love over, but with no Jimmy Butler, I kind of feel like he's going to have some opportunities there. So I would take the over on that against Philly defense that is just, quite frankly, not that good. Um, let's see. There was Vucevic. So he finally goes under. They had his point total at 17.5 all season. He just kept going over and over and over. He finally has a 9-point game, and they move it up to 18.5. Detroit is a good defensive team, man. They really are. I think we could see a little bit of regression here from Vucevic. So maybe it might be time for another under um, on this one. Bubbles, you want to talk rebounds and assists for Cade Cunningham? There he is. You're right. You're absolutely right. He has been absolutely crushing. Yeah, this 15.5, just barely scraping by on a couple of them. But yeah, against the Chicago defense that is not very good, high pace of play. Yeah, I could see they were going with Cunningham. I was looking at his 3-pointers. He's been on a nice little roll, but they've got this juice to minus 178. So Bubbles, absolutely great call by you. Worry about regression, but yeah, those are the kind of streaks that are pretty impressive. Let's see who else is. Oh, Anthony Black. I saw he's been good in the stat sheet with this Orlando team. Coming this might be a nice time to jump on him. Not literally jump on him. Like he would be really annoyed by that. But if you're looking at a really low total here on Anthony Black, man, he only had 2 last game, but yeah, gone over quite a bit in the games leading up to this. And in that same game, I was going to point out a 3-point shot on Maurice Wagner. I got his game log pulled up because I thought it was interesting that he's been taking quite a few recently on this run. 1 of 1 against New Orleans, but then 2 of 6, 2 of 4, 2 of 4, 1 of 2. He had a real cold streak there, kind of here in the middle, but sandwiched in is some nice little streaks of some games going over from Maurice Wagner. So, speaking of which, I have an NBA best bet that is up today at Wager Talk. Go grab that. We're on a 7-2 start to the season in NBA. That's 78% of our NBA play. So that's going to be the big play that we have up for today. One more here in the NBA. Bubbles. OG Anunoby looking at points, rebounds, and assists. 26.5. Yeah, this is a Washington team that you always want to be fading and taking over. So I think that's a pretty good look there. But you're right. You're right. The blowout. You never know. There's nothing to I think I didn't even have that. Yeah, there you go. There's OG Anunoby here, going over in 4 out of 5 games. So yeah, the blowout a little worrisome. There's the only couple things here with the lineups, which I didn't do at the very beginning, but Joel Embiid's probably going to play. Butler does not look like he's going to play. I believe Giannis and Lillard are going to play. Giannis is just going to be the guy that's a game time decision every single game, except he's listed as probable, and Lillard is probable. So you look like you're getting the full Milwaukee lineup here. So Sabonis looks like he's going to be out. So Trey Lyles is going to play. So be careful when you're looking at props and you're like where's the Sacramento? Yeah, I was looking at like the Trey Lyles, like 24.5 points, rebounds, and assists. He's never gone over the season. Well, it's because Sabonis is out tonight. So be careful when you're looking at that. So let's go to the NHL here. Who's got the gall to take under rebound? I got his under points, rebounds, and assists. I do. I absolutely do. I think it's going to be a minute before he's even close to 100%. So yeah, I want all the categories with him though. I don't want to focus on just one because in order to go for points, rebounds, and assists, you got to be firing on all cylinders, and that seems a little bit tough. So, all right, let's go to the NHL here, and let's take a look at some shots on goal props. I almost pulled the trigger on Travis Sanheim, but he's going up against this Colorado. Have we ever seen anything like this? Colorado, 30th in goals, first in shots on goal allowed. Good Lord. Uh, so kind of interesting. He hasn't played Colorado this year, but I just thought this was an interesting matchup here. Who else has got some? Zellweger for Anaheim has been doing really well. Again, he gets a tough matchup. They don't allow a whole lot of shots on goal, and he's just barely getting over this. 2 the last 4 games. So, and then we want to look at who's ice cold. Nichushkin just got back. Hyman's an interesting for shots on goal. Boy, does that chart speak to me, huh? Man, he is not getting there. Playing Montreal 25th in shots on goal, but yeah, Hyman has just been. If you'd have been playing this every single time, you're looking really really good. So maybe we look at Hyman under 3.5. In fact, let me go back to that one. Who did he go over against? Nashville. Well, there's why. He goes over every single time he plays Montreal. So probably a layoff tonight. Let's see. Anybody else shots on goal? I think that's probably good on shots on goal. Let's do points here real quick. And then we'll get out of here. So I'm going to try and do more of these live shows every day. We got a ton of sports and a ton of things to look at. So I'm going to try and do a little bit more for you guys here on this channel. So what about McCain under 7.5 rebounds and assists? Well, let's go look and see. With Butler coming out, yeah, with Butler being out, yeah, there's gonna be some nice there's gonna be some nice opportunities for Philly. I was actually looking at McCain's look at his points. He is absolutely on fire. On fire, man. From this. So yeah, his rebounds. Not getting a lot of rebounds and assists, 7.5. Seems like a tall ask. For me, he's only gone over this one time, so I would say, eh. Let's take a look. Let's go back to NHL before we wrap up. And yeah, Vito, I'll try and do this. Try and do this every day. Granlund shots on goal for San Jose. Let's pull the chart, see what's going on here. It definitely gets a good matchup. I don't like the inconsistency of them. It's kind of all over the board, like 7 and then 2, like 5, 5, 7, and then 2. So I feel those guys are a little bit hard to kind of figure out. So I would pass on Greenland. All right, let's take a look at points. Let's go to all games here. So you guys probably know I put in Couture. Is it Couture? Whatever, Sean. I put him in and he was out. So his last game, he ended up with a point against Buffalo. So again, he gets this weird Colorado team that they don't give up many shots on goal, but they're dead last in in goals. So I will be laying off that one. My guy Charlie Coyle, I've been priced out of it. It's minus 175. That's just too expensive for me. You got to be hitting that quite a bit, and he's over the last 7 or 8 games, you'd be losing if you played it. So I've lost the Charlie Coyle one. Heiskanen's an interesting one to look at for Dallas because, he was awful to start the season, really, really cold. And then he goes 3 out of 4, but now 4 out of 5, he hasn't gone over. And Heiskanen normally is a guy that I just picture having a lot more points. So I wonder if maybe he's slowing down a little bit, or if they're just not. I don't know. Maybe it's unlucky. Maybe it's a little bit of a cold streak. But I that's been kind of interesting that he pops up when you have these these really really down times. So Charlie McAvoy kind of the same with Charlie Coyle. Like he had this big. Charlie Cole had this big streak where he didn't have any points, and then kind of had a couple of the last three. So I don't really take guys to have points because they're normally kind of priced out. I mean, Dylan Strome's been lighting it up, absolutely lighting it up. You could absolutely make the case that minus 186 is worth it. I mean, the guy's only not had a point in only 2 games. That Washington team's just putting up tons of goals. So that's kind of interesting. And then, I mean, Ovechkin's only minus 180 to have a point. Feels like he does that a lot. He's scoring goals, so I don't know. Oh well. Kind of not a whole lot going on in NHL tonight. Honestly, not a whole lot that I really like. So, if anything, I would look at maybe some of these shots on goals. But again, some of the guys with the low totals, they've got tough matchups. So don't think I'll get to the window on that, but I am in play in the NBA, so hopefully we will catch that tonight. So, all right, thanks for joining us on the Prop Betting Show. Hit the like button if you have not subscribed to the Winning in the Shadows YouTube channel. Go ahead and do that now, and yeah, I'll start trying to do more of these. So, thanks, guys. Good luck, and we'll see everyone later.